David Sachs is the White House crypto czar and host of the All In podcast. All right, David Sachs, a real estate tycoon, did something that many, many other people have never even come close to doing. Why is that?
Good to be with you, Jesse. First of all, let's just say how remarkable this is. A week ago, did anybody think these hostages were coming home? You have 20 live hostages who are going to be reunited with their families as a result of this deal. You've got a ceasefire in Gaza now. This war that's been going on for 2 years since October 7th of 2023 is now going to come to an end. At least the shooting's going to stop. You've got the pullback of Israeli troops so that unrestricted aid can come into Gaza. And you have to say that the difference maker in all of this was President Trump. I mean, you've got Prime Minister Netanyahu and you've got Hamas, these two parties who have been in this intractable conflict. Netanyahu is notoriously a tough customer and Hamas are extremists. Does anybody think they would have come together and negotiated this on their own? There's no way. President Trump made the difference here and brought these parties together. And like you said, he applied pressure on both sides to make it happen. And to answer your question, what is it about President Trump that allows him to do this as a former businessman? Well, look, he understands the concept of leverage. He understands how you use carrots and sticks, and he's pragmatic. You know, with all these politicians in Washington, all they really do is issue moral condemnations and moral pronouncements all day long. And look, there is a time and place for moral condemnations, but not when you're trying to bring together two parties who hate each other so they can get a deal done. And President Trump is pragmatic. He works incredibly hard. He's assembled a non-traditional team of other business people who are also similarly pragmatic, folks like Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, and together they were able to help bring this deal into place, which I think never would have happened without President Trump's leadership.
Do you think he's going to be getting the Nobel Peace Prize?
Well, I think he should get it, and it's not me saying it, it's the Washington Post. There's literally a headline in the Washington Post today called "Trump Deserves the Nobel Peace Prize." I never, ever would have thought I would have seen in the Washington Post them saying Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize, but even the Washington Post is saying it now. How can it be denied?
When you talk about the leverage, how key was it when he goes over there right after getting sworn in and meets with all these Arab leaders and cuts these huge investment deals? We sold them a lot of AI. And yes. was that critical in getting them on board with forcing Hamas to sign?
I think it was, and Secretary of State Rubio said that it was. The president went over to the Middle East, and he did these deals to bring trillions of dollars of investment into the U.S. That by itself was extremely good for the U.S. economy. But in addition to that, it built relationships, and it showed the Gulf Arab leaders that President Trump was interested in a shared prosperity with them. And that relationship, those relationships built political capital that he could then use to help get this deal done. And you saw that the Gulf states helped broker this deal as well. So yes, absolutely, that trip was something that the president did. He wanted to do. He did it for business reasons. He also did it for diplomatic reasons. And you can see now that it's paid off.
What is the Trump doctrine?
I think the Trump doctrine is, first of all, he's going to put America first. That is the most important thing. He's going to negotiate deals that are good for the United States. And I think in addition to that, he has an intense interest in peace. I think, like the president said, he didn't do this for a Nobel Prize or for any other reason than he just hates war. And I think that he genuinely wants to see the world at peace. This is the 8th deal of an intractable conflict, a conflict that nobody thought was going to get resolved. And he has managed to get it resolved. So I would say the Trump doctrine is number one, we're going to make America powerful. We're going to put America first, but also we would like to see the world at peace. And President Trump's going to do everything he can to make that happen.
And when you're at peace, you can make money. And that's what a lot of people want to do. It's peace and prosperity. In order to get there, you got to stop the killing. The guy understands value, and he just sees no value in war at all because he sees the human potential and the potential in everything. And wow, what an important week.
I think that's right.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely.
David Sachs, great to be with you on this big night.
Jackie, thank you very much. There are so many scenes playing out in the Middle East right now, in Israel, in Gaza. And this is coming from last night to begin with, because, of course, they are 7 hours ahead of us. Crowds are coming together to celebrate the historic step forward toward peace. And Israel is sharing excitement and appreciation.
I'm all shaking and get ready for them. Please come home now.
We cried all morning. It's been 2 years that we are in horror, and that's a great day. That's a great day. Thanks to to Trump, thanks to Bibi Netanyahu, thanks to everyone.
We thank President Trump and our brave soldiers.
Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Yingst is in Tel Aviv right now. Trey.
Harris, good morning. The war in Gaza is almost over. For the first time in months, there is hope across the Middle East. President Trump has been able to do what so many thought was impossible. Celebrations erupted in Hostages Square overnight in Tel Aviv as Israelis processed the news that all of the remaining hostages held by Hamas will be released in the days ahead.
I want to thank President Trump for bringing this amazing victory. That's the name for it. That's a victory. He deserves a Nobel Prize for this, a Nobel Peace Prize for bringing this amazing deal.
Similar moments of joy unfolding inside Gaza as crowds of Palestinians cheered and chanted. After 2 years of war, an influx of aid and relief will make it to residents there.
Honestly, these are indescribable feelings. We can't believe it. But thank God the war has ended and we are alive. Honestly, we hope the war does not come back and for this to be really the end, with no death and destruction afterwards.
The Israeli cabinet is set to formally vote this evening on the deal. Once that vote passes, Israeli forces inside Gaza will have 24 hours to pull back to agreed-upon lines within the enclave. President Trump says the 20 living hostages will be released on Monday. Israeli media reports the exchange could take place even sooner. Local hospitals are already preparing for their return. The hostages will be swapped for nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners, 250 of whom are serving life sentences. As for the bodies of the remaining 28 hostages, a joint task force from the U.S., Qatar, Egypt, Turkey, and Israel is reportedly being set up to help locate the remains. Remember, this is phase one of President Trump's 20-point peace plan. There are certainly challenges ahead, but both Israelis and Palestinians agree President Trump has made history. Harris?
A big, beautiful peace deal. Thank the Lord. Trey, thank you.
Shutting down government over a policy difference is self-defeating. It accomplishes nothing but pain and suffering for the country and the American people. That's a lesson we all must bear in mind. The shutdown is not a political game. Shutdown means real pain for American families.
Yeah, so why is Chuck Schumer using the government shutdown now as some type of revenge play? Americans are struggling. Roughly 750,000 federal employees, that's a lot of employees, are not working. Even our military members' paychecks are threatened. But Schumer, willing to let Americans suffer, believing it's all worth it as long as he sticks it to the Republicans and makes AOC happy. So a lot of bravado. Schumer told Punchbowl News that every day gets better for us. And he reiterated the same sentiment on the Senate floor this morning.
Our case to fix health care and end the shutdown gets better and better, stronger and stronger, because families are opening their letters showing how high their premiums will climb.
But it gets better for the Democrats. Here to discuss, Matt Towery, pollster and political analyst. Also with us, Lisa Booth, Fox News contributor. All right, Matt, this is, interesting. There are different polls that show different iterations of where people are on this shutdown. But his comment there that it's good for the Democrats. What do you make of that?
Oh, I don't think it's good, but I have a great idea, Laura. I sat all afternoon and went through some statistics I want to share with you. 93% of Trump's win came from rural counties. 70% of the nation are rural counties. We've lost 300 rural hospitals. There are 38 Democrats in the House that represent primarily rural areas. North Carolina, 85% rural. Georgia, 120 of 159 counties are rural. You get where I'm going with this? There's a crisis in health care, but the biggest crisis is among the rural areas, the places that voted for Donald Trump. So I say to Schumer, how about this? How about we address that rural crisis right now? And then after everybody gets the government going again, we'll turn and deal with his area in New York and Los Angeles and all the other places he cares about. I think there's a way to get this thing done and take the health care issue and hang it right around their neck.
Well, Lisa, Obamacare really dropped a bomb on the health care for so many Americans. So they're dangling the prospect, oh, this is going to go on forever. But of course, eventually you have to pay the piper. Plus, we got 30 million illegals using the emergency room as their primary health care. Hospitals under huge pressure because of bills underfunded, under-reimbursed. And the Democrats are blaming us. I thought Affordable Care Act was affordable.
Well, I think that's probably why they're fighting for these beefed up premiums as hard as they are, because otherwise it's an admission that Obamacare failed. It failed us. It failed the country. But I think more broadly, if you look at Republicans right now, look, you win political fights, you win government shutdowns when you have the easier argument to make. And Republicans can say, we've given you multiple opportunities to keep the government open at the same spending levels that you previously supported just a few months ago. Why can't you do it again? You did it 13 times during the previous administration. But, right now, I think this fight is still a beltway battle, but it's going to continue to spill out, particularly when you look at impacts to air travel. And if you remember going back to the 2019 shutdown, that 35-day shutdown, there were ground stops on January 25th, 2019 at LaGuardia that then had this cascading effect on the rest of the country. You had something like 3,000 flights delayed, 650 flights canceled. And then what happened that same day? President Trump and Congress got together and hammered out a 3-week, short-term deal to get the government reopened. So, I think until we start seeing a little bit more of that, there might not be room for negotiation, unfortunately.
Yeah, but paychecks aren't coming now, Matt, right? People aren't going to get paid. When people don't get paid, they can't make their bills, and then they can't get health care that they need because they can't afford the premiums.
Well, you remember, Laura, when our friend Newt Gingrich shut the government down back in the 1994 and 95, he was called the Grinch who stole Christmas, right? It was all his fault. Now it's the vote that is needed by the Democrats that we're not getting. So I think political pressure, increased political pressure, and perhaps a little advertising in some key districts, and maybe a little creative approach to this health care they're so concerned about, and we'll get this country back on its feet and moving again.
Have you seen many commercials on this, Matt? I've seen almost none in the D.C. area.
No, and
that's
there
shocking,
need to be commercials.
Is it not?
Yeah. I think the Republicans ought to be running commercials right now saying, why is your representative, why is your senator not voting to open the government and get people back to work? I'm always shocked when that doesn't happen.
Chuck Schumer just wrote the ad for them, too, by saying every day it gets better for them that the government's shut down.
Right.
To Matt's point, like if you're gonna write the ad, he just wrote it for you,
Yeah,
and also, Laura, think about how small Democrats look right now. President Trump is working on negotiating world or peace in the Middle East, while they pick, these silly battles where you have Hakeem Jeffries in this fight with Mike Lawler, just looking silly in that interaction.
Yeah,
they just look so small and petty right now, comparatively speaking.
Trump's taking on the big challenges, but this government's got to open up. It's got to happen. Matt and Lisa, thank you both.